Hello, my name is David Daffenberger. What's your full name, please?
My name is Dorothy Fitzgerald.
Can I check your ID and passport, please?
Sure.
In the first part, I'd like to ask you some general questions about yourself.
Okay.
Let's talk about the town or city you come from. Is your hometown big or small?
My hometown is quite small, actually. It's the capital of Nevada, the state that I'm from, but there's only about 50,000 people there, and there was only one high school.
What kind of jobs do people have in your hometown?
Well, I suppose they have jobs like every other town. There are teachers and doctors and lawyers, but my hometown's special because we have casinos, so lots of people work there also.
What is your hometown famous for?
Well, it is famous for the casinos that are there, but it's also famous because it's right next to Lake Tahoe. And Lake Tahoe is beautiful, and lots of people like to go there for skiing and snowboarding in the winter.
Now I'd like to ask some questions about culture. What is interesting about your culture?
Well, since I'm American, my culture is quite famous. It's in all the movies and on TV all the time. So I guess what everybody thinks of would be baseball and American football and, of course, Hollywood and our movies and our music.
What might a foreigner find difficult to understand about your culture?
I suppose if they're from Asia, they might find it difficult that we are so direct, and many people say Americans are quite loud. So some people might think it's difficult to deal with us.
What is considered rude in your culture?
Well, I'm not sure honestly about what's considered rude in my culture, but in my family, it was very rude to talk with food in your mouth.
Okay, let's move on to TV and film. Do many people have cable TV in your country?
Oh, of course. Everybody has cable TV in America. And most people have more than 100 channels on their TV also.
Are there many cinemas in your city?
Well, like I said, my hometown is very small, so there were only 2 or 3 cinemas.
And do you prefer to watch a movie at home or at the movie theatre?
I definitely like going to the movie theater more. I really love the whole experience of buying your drink and your popcorn and going with your friends and watching it on the big screen. I just saw a 3D movie, a horror movie, and it was fantastic.
In part 2, I will give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you will have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say. You may make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes,
Okay, here's a pen and paper and your topic.
thank you.
I'd like you to describe a newspaper you enjoy reading.
I would like to introduce my favorite newspaper today. It's called the New York Times. I didn't start reading it until I was in high school, and my mom moved to New York, and so when I would visit her, I would read the paper on the weekends when I was there. It has every section that normal newspapers have. It has news about international events and national in America events, and also local news from New York. In addition, it has a wonderful travel section that has articles from all over the world, and it offers perspectives that you don't get in normal newspapers. On Sundays, it has a special supplement. It has a magazine that comes with it, and my favorite article is in there. It's all about language, and it puts together the history of words, and it explains why we say the things we do. So I always read that. I only read it once a week now because I don't have much time with work and all. But when I do read it, I like to sit down at my computer because I live abroad, so I obviously can't get the real paper. But I sit down at my computer and I have a nice cup of tea and I take a couple hours to read it actually. And I really enjoy catching up on all the news from my country and also the news from New York City because I think it's a fascinating city and I really wish that I could live there someday. So I like reading about that. I also like seeing all the news about the travel and possible places I might take vacations in the future because usually they're places I wouldn't even think about, like going to Sri Lanka, maybe, or going to Bali. I've never been to these places before.
Okay, thank you. So you've been talking about a newspaper that you read, and I'd like to ask you one or two more questions related to this. Let's consider first of all newspapers. Outline what role newspapers play in our society these days.
Well, I think newspapers are still important despite what many people say. I think they offer different news on politics, and a lot of people still depend on newspapers to get their ideas about what laws should be passed or who they should vote for. They also play an important social role. They list all the activities that you can do over the weekend with your family or friends and what concerts and other art events are coming to town.
And do you agree or disagree that newspapers will be replaced sometime in the future?
You know, that's hard to say. I would like to say that they cannot be replaced because I love the feel of newspapers, of having a newspaper in your hand. However, I must be realistic and say that they probably will be replaced. I think along with books and magazines, people just won't need to buy the real paper products like that. They'll have their iPhones or their e-readers to catch up on news with.
Okay, and consider the need for news censorship.
Well, to be honest, I don't think there is a need for news censorship ever. I think that it's very wrong to not give news to people, to not give information to people that they might need. Besides that, the people that actually censor the news are usually the authorities or usually people in power. And they often censor news to make people do what they want, to make people vote a certain way or behave in a certain way. So I think that's not fair, and I think everyone has the right to know what's happening.
Okay, let's move on to the media now. Speculate on why the media tends to sensationalize the news.
I believe that everyone likes to be entertained. And in order to sell things, to sell newspapers or to make people watch your news channel, you have to be entertaining. Therefore, you have to show pictures of people crying or of accidents and violence, and people really want to see the drama, to see the violence like that. I don't know if it's because we're used to watching it on TV or in the movies and we're just used to being entertained like that, but unfortunately, people are not entertained by positive news. So all of the drama and the violence are shown.
Evaluate how much influence the media has over young people.
Oh, they have a lot of influence, a great deal of influence on young people. Young people love to listen to the latest music, to the pop music that everyone else likes, or to follow the fashion trends, and therefore they have to look at the magazines to see what their favorite singer is wearing, or what the movie stars wore at the Academy Awards, for example, and they want to look like that. They want to look like famous people. So They dress like the people they see in the media. Also, if they see a celebrity is maybe interested in a new type of music or a new issue, then they'll try to learn more about that. So the media, yeah, they have a lot of influence over young people.
And finally, I'd like you to comment on how much the media has contributed to globalization.
Well, that's a difficult question. Let me give you an example. Coca-Cola is a good example. Coca-Cola is everywhere. Products like that you can find in any small village in Mexico or any big city in China. It's the same product, it's the same company. That's part of globalization. And the reason why people know about these products is due to the media, is due to advertising and like I mentioned before, people follow celebrities. When celebrities endorse products, it makes people want to buy them. So advertising, I think just advertising in the media has contributed to globalization.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.